Welcome to the Jumpcast, powered by Gens Matter, bringing transformational learning experience to your life.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Jumpcast, Jump Schools Edition. My name is Elliot. I'm one of the interns here at Jump, and I'm also a student at the University of Oregon right now.
Hi guys, my name is Ash. I'm 20 years old, interning at Jump Foundation as well.
So today, me and Ash are going to be diving into something that's had a massive impact on our generation: screen time, anxiety, school disengagement, and hard work, motivation, work ethic, and grit. If you've heard terms like the anxious generation or the disengaged teen, you're not alone. These things are not just headlines, they're real struggles that our generation faces every day. So we're going to start with screen time. Ash, when does screen time start to feel like a little bit too much for you?
Well, honestly, for me, it's when I stop feeling myself. Like usually after 3 to 4 hours, when I scroll on TikTok, I thought it was just 2 minutes, but suddenly it's been 2 hours. So yeah, that's when I know I've gone too far.
Yeah, I agree. I noticed after a certain point, my focus just crashes. I get in this crazy doom scrolling loop, whether it's TikTok or Instagram. And it's not like I'm enjoying what I'm seeing or remembering anything, but I just can't seem to stop. And I was just reading that there's actually science behind it. Jonathan Haidt in The Anxious Generation points to 2012 as the year everything changed. And I don't know if you remember, but I remember when everyone started to get cell phones, started to go on social media. It was like this huge bomb just got set off in our generation. And since then, rates of anxiety, depression have sharply increased in teens. Have you ever felt I have fallen into this comparison trap on social media, people showing off their lives, even though it's obviously not real? Have you ever felt that kind of pressure or performance on social media?
Yeah, of course. I often feel like there is a pressure to perform online, but it's everything has to look perfect or be interesting enough to get attention from others, and it's very exhausting because you ended up focusing on how others would perceive you and how others would see you instead of you just being yourself.
Yeah, I think it's you're not living your own life anymore. You're performing it for other people. And
yeah.
I don't know, but I've done certain things where I had to look back afterwards and be like, did I do that for myself or did I do that because I wanted to take a picture and show others that I'm doing it? But anyways, what do you do to disconnect or recharge after you're just totally burnt out from social media usage?
Well, when I would start using my phone or social media, I would go out with my friends, go to clubs, and go for a walk or get a Thai massage. They're the best.
Yeah, I've heard. So when in The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt, he calls our generations after us having a phone-based childhood where they're growing up in a world where these experiences going out with your friends, having a nice conversation, whatever, are totally replaced by these filtered algorithms that are totally curated, catered towards you, towards your addiction, towards raising your anxiety. And I think that has really shaped how our generation and other generations have built their own identity, their connection, and even their engagement, their work ethic towards certain things.
True. I agree.
Yeah.
So now let's shift to schools now. For me, for schools, it was the feeling that school wasn't really connected to my life because I thought I was just learning facts, but I didn't know why I was learning those certain subjects, instead of building and learning meaningful for my future. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I totally feel the same. The whole format of middle school, high school, and even some parts of university is just not catered towards the way I learn. I need movement, I need experiential learning, I need collaboration. I'm not the type of person who can just be dumped, someone dumps a ton of facts on me and I'm just expected to repeat them back out on a piece of paper, twice a month or whatever. And I think when I have some sort of connection to my real, how I perceive the world, my future, my potential career, that's when I really engage, when content starts to connect with that. And I've experienced that a few times in my education, but not really that often.
Yeah, and on top of that, there's so much pressure to succeed in real world, you know. Like you're supposed to be perfect, get straight A's and have extracurriculars, be mentally healthy, and yeah, to get into those high-ranking college or uni, you know, and figure out your future by what, like 16, 17?
So young.
Yeah, so that pressure killed my curiosity overall. I was too scared of feeling even to enjoy my teenage life, to, you know, engage and enjoy learning at schools. But still, here I am, life.
Yeah, I think in my own experience, and, you know, obviously I've had this conversation with a lot of other people at my university or high school, like, the higher the academic pressure, the higher your likeliness to burn out, the higher your leveling anxiety is, the more you're disengaged. Like the more pressure, expectations are put on you, the more likely you are to check out.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that the schooling system, mainly in high school, also parts of college, is catered towards a world that's long gone. You know, it's not catered towards our world. It's not catered towards the way you and me or younger generations or even older generations perceive the world, our day-to-day lives. Nothing connects. You know, it's a system that is
everyone has to go through.
Exactly. And it's 20, 30 years behind how youth actually, you know, goes about their day-to-day life today. And I think the next thing that I want to jump into is the idea of the disengaged teen. And I think it was a term that was used by journalist Jenny Anderson. She wrote how many young people today aren't just checked out because they don't care or they're lazy. They're actually disengaged or checked out because the world they're growing up with often feels disconnected, overwhelming, out of reach towards who they really are as a person.
Well, yeah, that hit home for me. Like, it's not that I didn't want to care about my school or whatever, but it's that everything felt like it was happening to me, but instead of me. Like, and Jenny talks about how teens today are growing up in a world full of high expectations, but low autonomy. Like, that creates a kind of numbness.
Yeah, I totally see that. Yeah, I think, like, it's not about, we shouldn't be blaming youth for being on their phones or zoning out. It's like, I think there should be an understanding of why that's happening, why teens, kids feel the need to escape in the first place. And I think like disengagement is a symptom of something else, a symptom of feeling disconnected from the world, feeling disconnected from the current education system. It's not a root cause, you know.
Yeah, and once you see that, it changes the perspective, like how you show up for young people. And yeah, it's not about yelling louder, you know, it's about listening better.
Yeah.
And giving teens real choices, like experiential challenges, meaningful challenges, and space to fill in, like try again. You know?
Yeah, and I think I also want to talk about grit. And Angela Duckworth, in her podcast that I was watching the other day, defines it as a passion and perseverance for long-term goals. Grit is not just about talent. It's about sticking with something even when it's hard. And I think that really kind of flipped the script on like school system nowadays, because I was reading that grit can actually be a better predictor of long-term success than IQ or raw talent. And I think that that's not reflected at all in our school system. You're focused on memory, how you can repeat facts back on a test, instead of how hard can you work, how can you get through something, how you can persevere. Ash, what is grit?
Oh yeah, grit for me, grit often means pushing through anxiety or self-doubt. But I can only do that if I have a reason, like I need a why, because I'm a why person. But when I care about the outcome, it's much easier to stay in the process, right?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think when the outcome is connected to who you want to be as a person, your career, your vision of your future life, it's so much easier to like work hard, have work ethic, persevere through a challenge, instead of just persevering for a grade or persevering for praise from your instructor, because doesn't always resonate with, you know, kids our age. But I do want to say, like, one thing that I think I've learned here from my time interning at Jump Schools is that the programs are much more focused on building character around, instead of just like, as opposed to content knowledge. supporting students with developing essential life skills, which I know is something I felt I missed out on a little bit throughout my education. Teaching kids things like empathy, resilience, leadership, how to interact with different cultures. And like these things are taught like hands-on reflective experiences, which I don't know how much of that you had in your education, but I don't feel like I had much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like things like leadership retreats, community building programs, multi-day experiential learning, and like all of these programs have real world relevance. It's about helping young people like understand who they are as opposed to understanding what the world around them was like 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, what I love about Jump Schools is that students aren't just passively absorbing, they're leading and problem solving and creating and even reflecting themselves. So that ownership builds motivation from the inside out. And also, there's a space to fail, so they can make mistakes, they learn, and they grow. So that's huge for nowadays kids, right?
I agree.
Yeah. So you're not being graded, but more like you're being supported. So it makes it so much easier to take risks and stay engaged in schools.
I totally agree. Before we leave, do you want to share one thing you wish more people understood about teens right now?
I would say I wish people understood how overwhelming it feels to juggle pressure from school. Like for kids, like social media and expectations, like high expectations from everyone, family, friends, So yeah, we need support, not just advice, I would say.
I agree. I think I want people to understand that like behind all the screen usage, behind the rising rates of anxiety, the rising rates of disengagement, there's a whole generation that wants to engage so bad. They're just not given the tools, the space, the trust. And I think that at Jump, from what I've seen, the programs really gives kids the right tools they need to engage in their own way, in their individual way, figuring out how they want to go about engaging with education, how they want to go about creating, great experiences that will help them later in life, everything like that.
Yeah.
Well, if this episode resonated with you, please reach out, message us, follow along, explore more at Jump Schools. Let's keep this conversation going.
Yeah, this has been
Jumpcast.
Bye.
If today's episode sparked something in you, share it forward and follow our channel for more transformational stories powered by youth, built for impact.